Hi, it's Frenchy Bets. Welcome back to another video. Today we got the Thursday game breakdown between the Packers and Lions, half of the Sunday games breakdown, and then Fanduel and Draftkings cash lineups for the Thursday showdown. Before I jump in, if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to the video. I really appreciate it. So let's get into this Thursday game. Lions at the Packers. Lions 1.5 point favorite with 45.5 total. Starting on the Lions side of things, Jared Goff. I really don't love playing Goff. Last year, only averaged about 11 or 12 points in games on the road. At home, he was up over 20. So I kind of want to see it from Goff in an away game. Packers, they're not a great defense. They're middle of the pack, a little below average, but not a great matchup. So I'm all right if you want to sit Goff this week. Running back, I'm playing Gibbs. I think Gibbs at this point is pretty much a weekly play. He's going to be in there. And then receivers, only one I'm playing is Amon-Ra St. Brown. We expected bigger things from Josh Reynolds last week, and he just didn't get it done. He didn't do anything. I believe he goosed. No targets, nothing. So I'm not in on Josh Reynolds. The only receiver I'm interested in playing is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam Laporta is in. He looks great. As far as rookies go, he's definitely the only one worth having on your fantasy team. And as of now, Laporta's locked in. He's playing every week. Unless you have a Travis Kelce, in that case, I'd try and get rid of him, or try and trade Laporta and get a bag for him, because he's worth it. He's one of the only tight ends that's doing something this year. He's currently the number 2 tight end. I mean, last week he had 11 targets, caught 8 of them for 84 yards and a touchdown, and I don't see it slowing down. He's had at least 5 catches in every game this year. He's on pace to break all the rookie tight end records, so Laporta's in. The Lions are pretty easy for me. It's Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and Laporta. David Montgomery, if he comes back, you can put him in there as a lower end flex play maybe, but obviously Thursday game, he's not in your flex spot. I just mean points wise, he'll be a lower end flex. So, but I would really rather not play him this week. Over on the Packers side of things, Jordan Love has looked great. The Lions aren't anything to be scared of, but not an easy matchup either. Hoping we get some points in this game, and so I'm good with playing Jordan Love. He's looked great so far. Other than the Atlanta game, but even that game, he was good for fantasy. He had 3 touchdowns, but putting up around 250 and 3-1 as far as touchdowns go in the 3 games so far. So I'm good playing Jordan Love. Aaron Jones, if he comes back and plays, I'm recording this Wednesday night, so by the time you see this, we might already know. But if Aaron Jones plays, he's got to be in. And as far as pass catchers, Romeo Doubs has been good. He's been Jordan Love's go-to guy. He had 12 targets last week, so I'm playing Romeo in this matchup with the Lions. Jaden Reed, I don't mind it, but I'm trying to find a better option if I can, especially if Christian Watson plays. If Watson plays, then Jaden Reed's out of the question, and I'm playing Christian Watson if he does play. Then Luke Musgrave. I like Luke Musgrave. He had 8 targets last week, caught 6 for 49 yards. Doesn't have a touchdown yet on the season, but I think it's coming. I think this is the week Musgrave gets in. He's had at least 3 deep balls that he was wide open for easy long touchdowns, and Jordan Love missed them. So I'm good playing Musgrave. Obviously, tight ends are a crapshoot if you don't have one of the top 4 guys, 3 guys. So I'm good playing Musgrave. On to the next game. Got the London game. The Falcons at, well, not really at, but Jacksonville's second home in London. Got the Jags as 3-point favorites and a total of 43.5. Starting on the Atlanta side of things, Jacksonville's not good for quarterbacks, but Ritter just isn't really the guy. And so I'm not playing Ritter. Maybe in a GPP daily lineup, but I'm not playing him in my season-long leagues. Running back, not a great matchup for the running backs here, but Bijan's in. He's an electric playmaker, so Bijan is obviously in, and that's really it. I'm Drake London. I'm not forcing into my lineup. The Falcons just aren't throwing the ball, not doing much through the air. So I'm all right if you don't want to play Drake London or Kyle Pitts, just with Ritter at quarterback. I mean, London had 6 targets, only caught 2 for 31 yards. He's only had one game that was good, and it wasn't even anything crazy. 6 catches for 67 yards and a touchdown. So I'm definitely not forcing London in my lineup if I have better options available. As far as Kyle Pitts, I mean, he's a tight end, and finally you got some targets for him. He had 9 targets last week, only 5 for 41, and still no touchdowns. But, I mean, he's just not doing anything. It's really disappointing with Kyle Pitts and Drake London, how talented they are, and they just don't get the ball. So, Kyle Pitts, if you have him, you're probably playing him. But if you picked up a guy like Laporta or even Musgrave, Laporta's obviously playing over Kyle Pitts, but if you picked up like a Musgrave, I'm not mad at playing him over Kyle Pitts until we start seeing something from Atlanta's pass game. Over on the Jags side of things, Trevor Lawrence has not been what everyone projected. And I don't know why that is with the weapons they have. He's only got 3 touchdowns on the year, throwing the ball a ton. The last 2 games, he's been at 40 and 41 pass attempts, but barely over 200 yards in one and 280 in one. But he's just not getting the job done. He's not getting the touchdowns, and that's what we need out of him. But it is a good matchup, so he's in. ETN, not the best matchup, but ETN's look good, and we know we can get some pass catching out of him. So ETN's in. As far as receivers, it's a solid matchup for him. But, I mean, you don't know what one it's going to be. Kirk, Ingram, and Ridley all are tied for the most yards on the team, all with 173. So Zay Jones is questionable. Calvin Ridley's in. But the other two, if you want to take your shot on them, I'm good with it. We need some more touchdowns from this offense. They're way too talented to only have 3 passing touchdowns. Evan Ingram is solid. I believe he's leading tight ends in receiving yards right now with 173. And he's getting you 50 to 70 yards a game. So for a tight end, 5 to 7 catches and 50 to 70 yards, he's in there. But the receivers are really just, if Zay Jones is out, it's a little bit easier. Then I'm playing Kirk. But if all three of the receivers are in, take your pick and hope it's your guy's game. It's not, their receivers aren't as locked in. They're spreading it out. One game it's someone, the next game it's someone else. So on to the Dolphins and Bills. Well, the Bills are 3-point favorites with a total of 53.5, the highest total on the slate. And I mean, we see why after last week. The Bills are one of the better teams against quarterbacks right now. But you're not sitting Tua. Tua is in. And Mostert you got to play Mostert. He's number one running back on the season so far. And A-Chain, you can take a chance with him. Obviously not expecting 204 from him, but I don't mind playing A-Chain. He can break any run off and be a long touchdown. So I'm good with A-Chain. And my flex, maybe low end RB2. As far as the receivers go, Tyreek Hill obviously is in. And I'm not really, Waddle, obviously if he's in, if he plays, he's in. I'm not really interested in playing anyone else. Even with Waddle out, I'm not very interested in playing any of these other guys. Durham Smythe, I was interested last week, but he's limited. He only had one target and caught it for 15 yards. So I don't think I'm going back to the Durham Smythe well there. Over on the Bill side of things, obviously Josh Allen is in, and I really like James Cook this week. The Dolphins give up points to the running back. I think the Bills might run the ball a little bit more than we expect. So I'm playing James Cook as a solid RB2 with easily RB1 upside. And then receivers wise, obviously Diggs is in, and Gabe Davis has looked all right this year. He's last game only 4 targets, but the Gabe Davis is a hard guy to project. He goes off for no reason, and he has terrible games for no reason. It doesn't matter the matchup. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. So you can always throw Gabe Davis in and hope he catches a long bomb. And he's got 2 touchdowns on the year, and both longer ones. The last week he only had 1 catch, but 35 yards and a touchdown. It's not killing you, and in a PPR, giving you 10.5 points. So I don't mind Gabe Davis, especially if you don't like your fantasy matchup or you think you're gonna lose, need a big boom game. I'm good with playing Gabe Davis. Tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, maybe he hasn't really done anything this year, but if Dawson Knox doesn't play, then I'm good with playing Kincaid. If Dawson Knox is in, I'm not playing. On to the Steelers and Texans. Steelers 3-point favorites with a 41.5 total. Starting with the Steelers, I'm not playing Kenny Pickett. Houston's last year they were terrible for quarterbacks to go up against, as bad as they were, mainly because you were up so much you didn't throw the ball the entire second half. But putting up a little bit more of a fight this year. They're middle of the pack, but I'm not playing Kenny Pickett. Um, as far as running backs, Najee, uh, it's a good matchup. So I think you gotta play Najee if you have him. He just looks so bad this year, but I think this could be his game that he actually does something for you. Then I'm good with playing Jalen Warren as a flex type play. He's looked way better than Najee has, so he's earning himself some more playing time. So as far as receiving, George Pickens, I'm okay with Pickens. I just don't love Pickens. I like the talent. I just don't like his quarterback. And he's another guy though that can have big plays. He's done it in week 2 against Cleveland. A good defense. He had 10 targets, only caught 4 of them, but 127 yards and a touchdown. He can do that in any game. So Pickens is probably in for me. And then Freiermuth is in for the tight end. Over on the Texans side of things, CJ Stroud. I think you can play CJ Stroud. No, it's the Steelers defense, but the Steelers defense doesn't scare me like it has in years past. And Stroud's looked great. By far the best rookie quarterback this season so far. And running back, Dameon Pierce has looked bad also, but the Steelers I don't know what's going on with them. They are not doing anything good in the run game on defense. So Dameon Pierce is in for me. I know he's only got 40 carries for 100 yards, averaging 2.5 a carry, but I see that average going up after this game. Receiving wise, Nico Collins, he had a down game last week, but I expect that to bounce back. The 2 previous games, he had 9 and 11 targets, 6 and 7 catches for 80 yards, 146. So I'm going back to Nico Collins here. Again, it's not a scary matchup with the Steelers. And then Tank Dell he's in for me. He looked good. 5 catches for 145 and 1 last week. The week before, 7 for 72 and 1. So Tank Dell is in. I'm playing both receivers for the Texans. Never thought I would say those words this season. But here we are. Got to stay fluid. On to the Rams and Colts. Colts, 1.5 point favorites with a total of 46.5. On the Rams side of things, I'm playing Stafford. I think he bounces back and has a good week. I know last week he didn't look good, but the Colts are bad against quarterbacks, so I'm going back to the well with Stafford. And Kyron Williams, not the best matchup, but Kyron Williams has looked great, so he's in. And then receivers-wise, Puka's in and Tutu's in. The Rams are pretty simple. Stafford's the only questionable one, and I like the matchup, and I'm going back to him. So those 4 guys are in for me. Over on the Colts side of things, if Anthony Richardson is in, then I'm playing him just for his rushing upside. It's not a good matchup, but you give me 10 designed runs from the quarterback, and it's a cheat code. So Anthony Richardson, I'm playing if he's in. Running back Zach Moss is getting absolutely everything. He's in on almost 100% of the snaps every game. So Zach Moss is in. And receivers-wise, Michael Pittman, I'm good with playing. And depending on who the quarterback is, if it's Richardson, I don't really want to play Josh Downs. But if it's Gardner, last week with Gardner, he had 12 targets, caught 8 of them, only 57 yards. So definitely more of a PPR play. In a standard league, I'm probably not playing Josh Downs, but in a PPR, I'm good with playing Josh Downs if Gardner plays. If Anthony Richardson plays, I'm not as interested. So on to the Vikings and Panthers. Vikings are 4-point favorites with a total of 45.5. Obviously, Kirk Cousins is in the number one, depending on your scoring format, the number one quarterback. The Panthers have been good against quarterbacks so far this year, but you can't take Kirk out right now. Madison's in. He got a great matchup with the Panthers here. Panthers are giving up 31.2 points to fantasy running back so far in the year. So I'm good with it. And obviously, Justin Jefferson is in. TJ Hawkinson is in. And Jordan Addison, I love the talent of Jordan Addison. And he's looked, other than, I mean, he hasn't done anything fantastic, but he's getting targets. He's getting, last week he had 6 catches for 52 yards. So I'm good with playing Jordan Addison as a flex type play. Over on the Carolina side of things, if Andy Dalton's in, I like Andy Dalton this week. He threw the ball a ton last week, and we know the Vikings are going to put up points, and their defense is bad. So I'm good with playing Andy Dalton if he's in there. Running backs, Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is in for me. He hasn't done anything too crazy this year, but the battle of the 0-3 teams, who's going to come out with the win in this one? And then receiving wise, Adam Thielen. I can't believe I'm playing Adam Thielen. But especially if Andy Dalton's in. If Andy Dalton's in, I think Thielen's a wide receiver 2 this week. I mean, he had 14 targets last week. Caught 11 for 145 and 1. He scored in back-to-back weeks. So Adam Thielen is in. And DJ Chark, it's hard to recommend playing Chark. But if Andy Dalton's in, I think you can play him. He had 11 targets, only caught 4, but 86 yards and a touchdown. So if Dalton's in, you can play Chark as a low-end flex type play. But if Bryce Young comes back, I'm not playing Chark, but I will still play Thielen in that case. Then the Tampa Bay Bucks at the Saints. Saints are 3-point favorites with a 40.5 total. Starting with the Bucks. Baker let us down and looked like Baker, the old Baker. So I'm not going back to him. Running back Rachaad White. I don't love the matchup, but he's getting a ton of volume, so you can play him. Just temper expectations a little bit. He's just not doing much with his opportunities, so you can play him though as a low end RB2. Then the receivers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are in. Mike Evans looks like one of the best receivers in the league. So them 2 guys are in. That seems pretty easy. Over on the Saints side of things, Jameis Winston. I don't mind Jameis in this game. Bucks are giving up almost 20 points to quarterbacks. I think there's probably guys that you can find with better matchups, but I don't mind Jameis as a play at all this week. especially if you want to play a revenge game narrative. I'm good with that. Running backs, I'm not interested in them. I know Jamal Williams got put on IR, but it's Kamara's first game back. We don't know what the workload's going to look like for him. Tony Jones, not interested at all. Kendre Miller, he didn't look good. So I think Kendre and Kamara kind of split the workload, ease Kamara back in. And so I'm not playing either one of them this week. And then receivers, obviously Chris Olave, you got to play him. And really that's it. I'm not too interested in Michael Thomas or anyone else. So on to the Commanders and Eagles. Eagles 8.5-point favorite with a total of 43.5. Starting with the Commanders. I'm not really interested in any Commanders, to be honest. They just haven't done much, and other than Brian Robinson, he's the only one that's impressed me. Sam Howell, it's a good matchup, and you'll get a little bit on the ground from him, but I'm just not super interested in playing him, especially having 4 picks last week and only had 1 carry for 18 yards. But you could play him in desperation, but the Eagles look good in the past game last week against Baker. So I think Sam Howell's kind of a Baker Mayfield type quarterback. So I'm not real interested in playing him. Brian Robinson, I'm good if you want to play Brian Robinson. Philly's the best team in the league against running backs, though. So if I have guys that are closely ranked, I'm not gonna go towards Brian Robinson. I'm gonna go someone with a better matchup, but he has been very impressive this year. So low end running back 2. And Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin, I just don't love the pass game. And the Eagles looked like the old Eagles of last year in this past week and looked like they had their defense figured out. So I'm good if you don't want to play any Commanders, really. I wouldn't recommend any of them. Over on the Eagles side of things, obviously Jalen Hurts is in and Swift is in with how he's been playing. I think you can play Gainwell. He did get, I believe, 16 carries, somewhere around 15, 16 carries. So I think Gainwell's all right to play. We saw Swift get stuffed on the goal line a couple times. So hopefully Gainwell will get that goal line work back and they can both be valuable. And then receivers, great matchup for them. You're playing A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. And tight end, Dallas Goedert. He's getting his targets back like I projected him to get to start the year, but he just hasn't done a ton with him. But I like Goddard, even though the Commanders haven't given up much to tight ends so far this year. So I'm playing Goddard. So that's all the games we're going to break down today. We will break down the other 8. And I think I like the schedule of putting the next one out on Saturday. So keep an eye out for that video on Saturday. I got the showdown lineups for Fanduel and Draftkings. Let's head on over to there. All right, over on Fanduel. Again, these are for cash games, not tournaments. So 50-50s and double-ups. I don't remember what my record is off the top of my head. I'll put them on the screen when I'm talking about them. So starting off on Fanduel. Got Jordan Love is the highest priced player on Fanduel. The MVP spot, the salary is the same. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown at 14,000. I like Amon-Ra in the MVP spot. And for the flex, let's throw Jordan Love in there for now. Let's see who else we can get in. Put in Luke Musgrave. I think he's scoring this week, so we're going with Musgrave in there. And Aaron Jones, I really want to get Aaron Jones in the lineup, but it doesn't leave us with a ton of options left. Let's put Gibbs in and see what that gives us. We can get up to Laporta there. Gibbs, I don't know if I want to go 3 Lions guys though. Without Goff. No, what? He had a solid game last week. 4 for 55. The week before, 2 for 46 and a touchdown. Let's go with Aaron Jones and Khalif Raymond. So the Fanduel lineup, we got Amon-Ra in the MVP, Jordan Love, Luke Musgrave, Aaron Jones, and Khalif Raymond. Obviously, if Aaron Jones is out, I'll give you an alternate lineup. If Aaron Jones is out, then I'm going Gibbs and Laporta instead of Jones and Raymond. So either Aaron Jones and Khalif Raymond. If Aaron Jones gets ruled out, then we're going Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta. So submit that real quick. All right, now let's jump over to Draftkings. Remember, on Draftkings, the MVP or captain is 1.5 times the salary as well. So a little bit more strategic with that. So Amon-Ra is the most expensive over here on Draftkings. So let's start out. Let's try Jordan Love in there to start out. Amon-Ra, Aaron Jones. I don't know if we can get all those guys in. No, I don't think we can. We're looking at having to play guys like Craig Reynolds, the defenses, which I don't want to do. So let's take Aaron Jones out and put in Romeo Doubs. That leaves us with a little bit more. Let's go. Man, this is not easy with these salaries on DraftKings. Go with Carlson, the Packers kicker. And if we put in Musgrave, what's that give us left? Not much. Packers defense. Don't love those options left. Let's see if there's really nobody else. Jaden Reed. Let's go with Jaden Reed in there and see what that gives us. Nothing, just the defenses still. All right. Going Laporta. Nope, definitely can't do that. So right, we're going back to Musgrave. We're going to have to play a defense. This is a very heavy Packers lineup. I don't necessarily love that, but all the Lions guys are kind of overpriced, to be honest. You just can't afford anyone in there. Even with Jordan Love at the MVP as the third most expensive player. And I don't have enough confidence to have anyone other than Aaron Jones, Amon-Ra, or Jordan Love in my captain spot, and Jordan Love's the cheapest, so we're rolling with that. I don't love this stacking 5 Packers, but we got Jordan Love at the MVP, the Packers defense, Carlson, the Packers kicker, Romeo Doubs, Luke Musgrave, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that's what I'm rolling with. I just don't see anything else. I don't see how to fit anyone else in there. I don't think anyone's valuable enough to have anyone else in the MVP. You need some guaranteed points at the MVP spot. So that's what we're rolling with. And I will catch you guys in the next video.